is the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent Podcast, hosted by me, Kelly Donahue Piro. This show is for growing insurance agencies looking to maximize their biggest investment, their people. Listen to the top agency performance partners clients share their story on how they boosted their performance by executing a plan. Let's head to the show.
Hey everybody, Kelly Donahue Piro here for your Mashup. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for watching our videos, and also for, if you're listening to this on the podcast, for listening. If you're on the podcast and you're on our videos, you realize that we do all of this organically. So we don't have any sponsors, we're not looking for anything. We just want to share with you great tips and tricks, let you know a little bit more about what we do. So if you like the videos, make sure you like them, make sure you share them, subscribe, so that we keep growing our reach. That's the best thing that you could do to keep us in the game of making these videos for your agency. And this week's videos was something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I'm glad that it finally kind of fit into the calendar, which is looking at the change curve. So the change curve, the Kubler-Ross change curve, changed my life when I saw it. Because a lot of times what I do in agencies is help them navigate change. And when I started looking at it, I was like, wow, these are the real phases. And I started understanding a lot more too about sometimes why we get called in, because we're at a certain phase and it's really hard to push forward. So as you're looking this, you'll also notice it's very similar to the stages of grief. There's reasons why people don't like change. And the change curve will kind of walk us through those couple steps that make all the difference in the world. So these steps are denial, frustration, depression, experimentation, decision, and integration. And I can tell you that those initial first steps are pretty rocky, which makes us second guess our decisions in business. So without further ado, let's get started as we go through the change curve. All right, so we're on to the first one, which is denial. So in this video, we cover denial and frustration. So as we change things, maybe you're getting a VA, maybe you're reorganizing, buying an agency, shutting a location down. I mean, change is everywhere. Changing management systems, that's another big one. The first one is people go into denial. Why do we have to do this? I don't want to do this. I don't think we need to. And it's your job as a leader to communicate. It's always the pros, the pros, the pros. Why are we doing this? The why matters. Now, I also want to have manage your expectations. You shouldn't expect them to be like, oh, I totally get it. Let's do it. Many people are still going to be questioning. They're still going to have kind of the grumpy look on their face, but we need to keep moving forward. And that leads us into the frustration phase. As people learn more details, or you're asking them to take trainings or start using it, frustration sets in. I don't know how. I don't know why. People don't do it the way I want to do it. I like the old system better. This doesn't make sense to me. And because a lot of people don't necessarily have the same levels of emotional intelligence, it comes out kind of temper tantrumy. And that's when you have to stop and have a good plan of watch, listen, and support. So watch this video as we dive a little deeper onto those two steps of the Kubler-Ross change curve.
Hey everyone, Kelly Donahue Piro here, and what we're going to talk about this week is the change curve. So many agencies struggle to adopt change. We hear it all the time. We got a VA to help with remarkets, but no one's using them. They don't like the quality of their work. Or we change processes, we outline it, no one's following it. Or we're asking people to go to commercial download and there's an absolute revolt. Change by nature is hard, especially in insurance where all we do is manage risk. Change presents itself as a lot more risk than reward sometimes. And yes, we can talk all about how to outline change, but what I want to share today, other than having real good, clear communication, is the change curve. It actually looks a lot like the grief curve. And if you've ever read anything on the stages of grief, you'll see a lot of similarities. So since this is a short week being Memorial Day, we're going to take Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and break down a few of these items so that you can see where you are in an agency. All too often, we find that agencies back away from change because they go through the discomfort, and as opposed to pushing through to get to that integration step, we stop dead in our tracks. I want to empower you with actual scientific studies that show where you are and the idea that you might just need to keep plowing forward even though it's uncomfortable. So we're going to take denial and frustration just to start with today. So the idea is that change is coming, whether that is a change in a process or something going on in the agency that you agree or don't agree with. The first thing is a lot of people are in denial. Why does this have to happen? Oh, it sounds great to have virtual assistants quote for me, but I can do it better myself. And so we go into this idea that status quo may be better, even though there's all these reasons, all these complaints have been going on. When change comes in as a solution, our initial reactions can sometimes be status quo. Maybe we're in shock or denial, and shock might be a big word. Denial is probably better, that we have to change something. And the biggest thing you need to do is communicate if you're in this situation. So here's the problem, here's the solutions. I like to think of this as setting expectations. So I'm going to go back to virtual assistants because we're big believers of them. And we work a lot with Cover Desk with Andy Priestman. I personally have 3 virtual assistants and they're amazing. So the first step is to communicate. Here's all the problems, here's the solution, but then set expectations. I think everybody thinks that things are a light switch, right? We did this and it's perfect. That's very rarely the case. People need time to adapt and adjust and change. And oftentimes many people are pushing the boundaries to see how far you'll take the change. So you have to communicate. And I want to, understand and say, communicate the wins too. It's really easy for sometimes everyone coming at you with all the fires, but there's wins and lessons at the same time. Then we can kind of get into frustration, right? So the change comes, we're trying to make it work, but we're slower, we're clumsier. We don't understand it as in depth because we're just learning. In reality-wise, we're not giving ourselves much grace. What we're doing instead is expecting that perfection, and we get frustrated. We want to go back to what we can control. We know what feels safe. But we have to identify this as just part of the process, is that there will be some disruption. Maybe people get angry, this isn't working. This is costing me more time than it should. Or this process doesn't work for me. My customer didn't like it. And the biggest thing you need to do is watch, listen, and support. So we hear you, we understand, that's a good point, let me work on it, but you don't retreat. And I see all too many times agencies start there and retreat because there's a little friction. Whenever you launch anything new, whether it's a process, once it goes through getting tested, of course, it's going to be a situation. Once we go ahead and we have listening and support, and we say, hey, I understand, let's work on it. The idea is not perfection. The idea is progress. And that's why when we go through change, we get stuck there. So those are 2 items. We're going to go next through the worst part, depression, and then exploration and experimentation. So depending on where you are, stay with this. I find this is super helpful when we work with agencies to show this, because once you can see it visually, it makes sense. It's not just like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. We know if we keep moving forward, it gets better. We'll see you in the next video.
All right. Now we're introing the next steps, which is depression and experimentation. So this is the lowest point and our rebound. Just like anything in life, whether you're trying to lose weight, the first couple weeks are hard. You're reprogramming yourself, and it's no different with change in an agency. That depression phase is when people lose faith. They lose faith in the program, the process, why it's happening, and that's something we have to definitely fight against. So one of the things that you need to be doing again is watch, listening, and support. At this place, you have to believe for people. This is why when you're looking to lose weight or get active, having a trainer or Weight Watchers, having a support system is so important, because everything in you tells you to run the back the other way. But you're so close to that tipping point, you have to put your head down and bear through the worst of it. Because then we start to rebound, which is experimentation. This is when you give it a little shot, you give it a little credit. You're like, okay, I see more. It becomes a lot clearer to people. So listen to our 3-minute video on the steps of depression and experimentation.
So now we're going to keep going on to the change curve. So yesterday in the 3-minute video, we discussed denial and frustration. And today we're going to talk about the lowest point we can get, which is depression, and then how we start rebounding. The change curve has helped me so much in so many areas of my life and helping agencies transform. Because once you see where you are, you understand this part of the process. And you can also understand why moving forward is so much better than moving backwards. So in this 3-minute video, we're going to really focus on depression and experimentation. So depression is the lowest point of the change curve. This is when you want to give up. This is, think about if you start working out, you're tired, you're grumpy, the scale's not moving, all your hard work just doesn't seem to be paying off. And you just don't understand why you're torturing yourself, because change is hard. It requires new memory, new muscle memory, learning new things, slowing down to speed up, all the things we talk about, which is why we use the term outlast the suck of change, because change does suck. So there's a lot of anger, fear. If you're a leader, you might be sensing this from your team. Why are we doing this? This doesn't work. And you keep getting pushback, pushback, pushback. Your approach is just watch, listen, and support. You have to have faith that you can outlast the suck. Sometimes you have to have faith in the potential that people have. You have to realize that you're just that much farther away from the big breakthrough. Now, the funny part is when I first got into sales, in a truly sales role, I thought to myself, this isn't for me. I can't be doing it. And my sales manager said, the day you want to quit, 2 weeks later, you'll have your breakthrough. And he was absolutely 100% right. He's like, I've seen it a million times. You just have to hold on harder than when it's the worst. And that's how you have to think about this change curve here. As that starts coming through, though, you start to see the wins. It starts to come together. And this is where you get to experiment. So this is when, you say, hey, I don't like this, but I do like this. This isn't working, but this is working. And you kind of get through all those details. People start to accept in the experiment stage. So it's fight, 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 fight. Okay. And then you have time to explore and test. It's kind of like I say, all the dots are connecting. And so you have to realize that this can be a long process. This can be weeks before we start to get to here. That's why it's so important that we don't give up. And it's also so important that you have a clear plan of the change, how you want it to work. And you know that, hey, let's give it till this date to really make an assessment on it, because all the icky stuff is happening here. So as you get through here, you start to see the glimmer of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light at the end of the tunnel is not a truck coming to hit you. It's the fact that it can work. So if you're somewhere in this area, keep going. It's going to get better. We'll see you in the next video when we go over decision and integration.
If you haven't been to our online store, what are you waiting for? We have a whole shopping section online, and let me tell you what's included in there. First of all, we have our ridiculously amazing agent swag, everything from hoodies, hats, t-shirts, and coffee cups, Yetis, socks, everything you could imagine. So if you're planning a cool summer outing for your team, how awesome would it be for all of them to have ridiculously amazing agent swag to wear? I think it'd be pretty cool and a great photo op. We also have our agency process packs. These are packs of written documentation and videos help break down processes like personalized endorsements with a checklist, how to win back lost customers, job description, setting goals for your agency, and more. So this is a huge opportunity for you and your team to get your processes and procedures underway with our guidance at your own pace. We also have our agency interactive, just secret shopper calls you can buy online, consulting hours, so training days. So if you've ever wanted to work with us, you can actually go right on our store and take a look at anything we have there. Because then we also have our premier programs where you get to work one-on-one with me. But in the meantime, take a look. We also have our online courses in the agency performance pack. So we do a launch of a new course every quarter, and after that we retire it onto our store where you can buy it outright. So you either get to subscribe to our school, which is $245 a month, and it's like the Netflix of training. We have trainings that we add in every single quarter, and you get access to all of them. We have renewal reviews, sales training, time management, how to how to turn every inbound call into opportunity, and how to reduce remarketing. We're going to keep adding to that. So if your agency is searching for something, we want to be the answer for you. If you like our podcasts or videos, all of that, don't stop there. Take the next steps of getting that information into your team in more actionable items. We love doing the 3-minute videos, but we can't cover everything in 3 minutes. Sometimes you need templates and checklists just as much. Check it out. Just go to agencyperformancepartners.com/shop. It'll be taken off to everything. You can even use a search bar if there's something you're looking for. And if you don't see something that you're looking for, let us know. We'd be happy to create it for you. Have a great day.
All right, now we've made it. We're at the upswing. Things feel good. You're happy you made the change. We've come through all the terrible stuff. And this is when there is commitment and decision and integration. So decision means people have decided to keep it, and integration now means we couldn't imagine our lives without it. It just seems like second nature. During these phases, there's a lot of rebuilding, commitment, celebration, and also just going back through and making the tweaks that you need. So watch our video on the decision and experimentation phase of the Kubler-Ross change curve.
So now you've made it. You've gotten to the part where it gets fun with change. So the final stages are the decision and the integration. And, when we get through these phases, it's the rebuilding, the commitment, and celebrate. If you look back on changes that now seem so important, whether it was changing phone systems, going to e-signature, multiple monitors, using a virtual assistant, you can kind of go back and look and be like, man, all these things did happen. But the idea is like once it's, experimented, now it just kind of becomes a workflow. People have adopted it. There might be still a few grumpy faces out there, but by and large, everybody's using it. They might not admit it, but probably couldn't imagine their lives without it. And so they're kind of off to the races at this point. This is the opportunity to review your workflows, see if there are any tweaks we need to make. But most part, the team is committed, which is a huge sigh of relief for most owners and for leaders. And you should really celebrate your success because now it's just part of how you operate every day. You don't think twice about it. We always say that, you don't need a process doc to take a shower because it's just part of your ritual or your routine. And so by this point, it's integrated fully in. What I love about this change curve is that you can go back through personal life, professional life, anywhere really, and kind of go back through and be like, okay, yeah, I see this super clearly now. While I was in it, I had so many questions. I was confused. Things were so fuzzy. But now as we work our way through it, I understand. So your deepest, darkest moments are where a lot of agencies give up on change. Oh, we just can't do renewal review calls. Oh, the team's rejecting a virtual assistant. Or, you know what, we definitely can't get our emails down to 10 every day. That's ridiculous. And, as we start to believe for people and keep on and force our way through this, because this takes that grit, that determination, discipline, that everything around you says it's logical to give up. It's logical that we're spending too much effort and not getting enough result. The problem is you have to bounce over to that next one. And that's when you can get to this really good place. So I wanted to share with everybody the change curve because it has had a positive impact on my life. And I think it's just good for us all to understand that just because there's friction and that some things are not working well, doesn't mean that you're not in the right place. A lot of times it means you are in the right place. You just have to keep pushing forward to get through it, to get to the really good place. So hopefully this helps you the way it's helped me. We're going to recap everything tomorrow in our mashup where you can watch all of these with a little bit more commentary from me. So I hope to see you then. Thanks.
All right, everybody. Well, it was so great to see everybody today. And if you're listening, thank you so much. Happy to do these videos. The Kubler-Ross change curve is something I recommend you share with your entire team. This is just one of those things in life that we all should know. Whether it's life or the agency, there will be change and it will come and it will be hard sometimes. But if we can clearly identify what step we're in, we know that if we keep moving, we're going in the right direction. Thank you all so much. If you like this episode or this video, please like it, share it, and also give us a comment. Talk to you soon.